everybody, Carly Sunshine here, and I'm going to break my video log silence for a little bit and share my thoughts on what's going on with the COVID-19 coronavirus apocalypse, crazy world, mad world we are going through right now. So I am driving home from work. I guess maybe if I have time, because I have very little bit of memory left on my phone. That's always how it is. I have too many pictures, too many videos of fun stuff, and I don't have any space left. I apologize. It's been such a long time since I've really shared my thoughts and video logged. A lot's been happening. Make a really long story short, there was some medical things going on in there a little bit, medical emergencies, not with myself, but things I was involved in. And our landlord passed away last year and kind of put us in a predicament where we didn't want to rent anymore, so we started on this journey of finding a house to purchase, our first house together. And we moved into the new house, I think it was at the end of July. So it's been a couple months. But you know, these things take a while. It takes a while to get settled in. And ever since we realized we were going to have to start looking for a new home, we quit buying TV programming to save money, and also no more Wi-Fi. So we still don't have Wi-Fi at home, and we have very, very bad cell service. So just to give you a background as to why I haven't really been doing a lot of video logging or a lot of content videos, and I don't get on any more interview shows, and I don't, all those like the podcasts and stuff, because I can't get on when I'm at home. I don't have Wi-Fi. Now I'm hoping that's going to change here soon. But then we never expected this pandemic silliness to be happening. But I am proud to say that it's been over a year. It was a year in January, and now it's going to be almost May, and then we have had no programming at our household, which is actually a blessing. But anyway, in my car I have some internet service, so I'm recording and hoping to be able to upload it before I get home. And it's going to be raw. There's not going to be any editing. I don't have any cute intro video saved or cute outro video. It's just going to be me driving. So anyway, we did find a nice house and very happy and settled in and started a bunch of our gardening, which I'm excited for, because last year I wasn't able to make a garden because right around that time we were packing and moving and looking for a house, and I didn't think we were going to be there long enough to take advantage of the harvest, and we would not have been. So it would have been a lot of effort and a lot of time I did not have to put into growing food. But this year we have already 4 gardens going, and I'm so excited. And I'm sure any of you that follow me on social media will be seeing the pictures. So, where I live, or where I work, I am still considered an essential employee. I work for I work for a home improvement store. We're considered disaster relief store. So we have been open the entire time. So I am blessed to have kept a job and income. And so is my fiance. He works in the with food. So we've both been able to continuously still make income. But I wanted to kind of like go over. Oh, I just touched my face. Oh my God! Just kidding. Like some of the things I've been going through, because I'm sure sharing it you guys will understand, and you're probably going through the same thing, like the ups and downs of this whole freaking journey. It went from, like where I work, we had to start practicing the social distancing. So the company sent out all these big signs and posters that we had to set up, and I don't know how they even did it quick enough, like big cutouts that folded up, and it was like big displays and signs everywhere, and big billboards and like posters and banners. And then we went to like making X's on the floor where people had to stand and measured them out so we know that they're 6 feet away from each other. And then the panic got even worse, and we ended up building plexiglass barriers between all cashiers and all the specialty desks and the customers. And then it got to the point where we had to start counting customers, and we could only allow a certain amount in the store at a time. And once we got to max capacity, which for a while was only 150 people, which in the store where I work is not a lot. We are a very busy store. And so what would happen is we'd end up, once there was 150 in the store, we were counting them coming in, counting them leaving. You had to stand outside and wait. You guys have all seen the videos. People were waiting outside, and then they were forced to wait 6 feet away from each other. It's ridiculous. The one day people were outside waiting, and it was blowing and snowing. And I felt bad, but then I'm like, I guess you don't really have to be out shopping right now. But now all that has changed to where we're not counting anybody. It's just a free-for-all. But now we're all forced to wear masks. And if any of you follow me on social media, I absolutely despise the idea of wearing a mask. But in the interest of keeping my job, I am wearing one while I'm there. And I do it in a way where I can still breathe sometimes, but it's very uncomfortable. It's a cloth mask, and I know from researching that it's not healthy. Let's talk about the masks a little bit. And we all know that this video log is about the ups and downs of this ridiculous pandemic that we've been forced into. And these masks, so physically, when you wear a mask, you're being forced to breathe in your own CO2, which is not healthy. It stresses out the organs, stresses out your breathing, stresses your heart out. It raises the blood pressure. It raises your heart rate. And for someone like me who is extremely sensitive, it causes anxiety majorly. Now, my job at times can be very, very physically exerting. Like, there's times if I sew in water and I have to pull lumber, or I have to help pull concrete bags, 80-pound bags of concrete, or the other day I was helping with 21 boxes of ceiling tile, 2 foot by 4 foot ceiling tile, and there's 10 in a box. There's 21 boxes. Very heavy. Till I was done, I was huffing and puffing through this mask, and I got dizzy. How is that healthy? And secondly, all these masks they're absorbing moisture immediately. When you breathe out, it's condensing, and it attaches to that mask. Well, now that wet mask is now attracting bacteria because, number one, they're telling you don't touch your face, which I don't believe in the whole virus crap anyway, but they're saying don't touch your face. But now you're touching your face even more often. But I do believe in bacteria. And there are bacteria that you do not want, as little as possible inside you, because it's a constant battle between the good versus bad bacteria on the outside of your skin and on the internally. And I'm constantly touching the mask, and the mask is also collecting bacteria. It's collecting probably mold and fungus spores, and then also impeding our oxygen CO2 transfer. So struggling with that daily. Psychologically, the masks it's like people become a keyboard warrior because all of a sudden they feel like that they're hiding behind a mask. You can't see them. Like, you can't recognize them, even though I know my customers, but they feel like you can't tell exactly who they are, and they're hiding a little bit. So, number one, they don't smile, or when they smile, you can't tell. Number two, I realized how much I read lips whenever I'm listening to someone. Because I do have a little bit of a hearing issue. And so I struggle big time telling what people are saying. It's a communication barrier. And it also makes us feel like, our speech is... Oh, Wayne, you're going to have to call me back. It also makes us feel like it's hindering our ability of free speech. This communication thing, it's not there. Also psychologically, like, I know for me personally, I'm trying not to let it get me down, because I'm feeling like so ashamed and like I failed because now I have to wear one, even though I'm telling everybody else don't do it. But honestly, for me, at this point in my life, I need that income right now. I cannot lose my job. So I'm having to play the game and jump through the hoops until I get out of work, and then I can be a truther, And everyone, I hope, knows how I feel. But that's why I also want to kind of share my thoughts about it. But I'm ashamed. Like, I look at myself and I'm like, all I see is my eyes, and my eyes look tired, and I look sad, and I look disappointed in myself, and I am getting it's a struggle. Like, I'm dealing with customers daily, and between the employees that I work with, my coworkers, and the customers that you deal with, customers are becoming more and more angry, more and more mean, more and more feeling entitled. They fight with each other in line. They fight with each other because one has a mask on and one doesn't. And one gets too close, and then one says a smart remark. And I've had people yell at me if I don't wear the mask correctly. And I really have to bite my tongue not to say what I want to say. But, I'm not being judgmental about body shape at all. I am not in perfect health or perfect shape. But clearly this woman was not concerned about her health. And I guess what I'm saying is, what was going on in her body, you could tell. She had no reason to be judgmental, and she yelled at me because of the way I was wearing my mask. And I didn't say anything back. But it's like, these people, they just don't get it. Also, those masks do nothing. Like a cloth mask and a paper mask and the scarves that I see people wear. I saw someone wearing a sock the other day. It was just a sock and like rubber bands, because that's all they had. I saw someone wearing a Crown Royale bag, like a feed bag. Like the gold ropes were up around the ears, and then the purple Crown Royale bag was like a feed bag off their face. And I'm like, what? Like, honestly, what do you think? I've seen people with like crocheted masks. Like, how much is that blocking? I mean, honestly, but so the mask thing is very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I've listened to some really, really, really good doctors and nurses speaking out. I've shared a lot of this on my social media on Facebook. If you just go to my page, Carly Sunshine, it's all public, so you guys can find some of the links there. I might, if I have a chance, link them on this video. But a lot of the doctors, a lot of the nurses that are stepping up and telling people, multiple alternative remedies, alternative real life stories as to what's the reality of what's going on out there. Many doctors are going, anything from like Dr. Kaufman, Andrew Kaufman. I've been following him a lot. He's been coming out and saying, viruses aren't even a living thing. And you can actually go on Google or DuckDuckGo or any of these other search engines, and you can research it for yourself. Even the medical field cannot agree on the fact that a virus is even a living thing. That they're just something called exosomes. And then people say, okay, so if it's not a living thing and you can't catch it from each other, then why is everyone getting sick around the same time? There's another girl on my Facebook, a woman. Her name is Amanda, I don't know if I'm going to say her last name right, Volomir. And amazing woman, confident, and she speaks out on a lot of this stuff as well on her page on Facebook, and I believe she has a YouTube page. She also, I think it's like Yummy Mommy or something like that. I'm so sorry if I messed that up. And she talks about how, so the reason why a lot of us get sick around the same time, it is a seasonal thing. People don't want to think that our bodies are affected by the seasons, affected by the plant life, affected by the sun and the moon, affected by the stars, but we are. So seasonally, around the same time of the year, our bodies go through a detoxing period, and it seems to be always when it's cold and flu season, especially when we're coming out of the winter. winters can be hard, especially since us humans nowadays, we do not get enough vitamin D. We do not go out in the sun enough. We don't ground ourselves. We don't walk around barefoot and get that energy download from the sun where we're actually making the full circuit where our feet are touching the ground. We don't do these things. Our immune systems are shot. The food we eat is crap. And so we end up becoming very toxic. All the stuff we put on our skin and all the stuff we use in our hair and our makeup and our lotions and our soaps. And even as much as vaccinations and things that we've been through. Any prescriptions you're on, all medications, over-the-counter medications. We're very toxic. And it seems to be there's a trigger around the end of winter and the beginning of spring where our bodies detox. Some people are more toxic than others, and all of us seem to be get sick around the same time. And it can be upper respiratory, or it could be the stomach flu that's going around. So think about it. You get the stomach flu. What is your digestive system is detoxing? It is getting rid of all that excess stuff that you have had maybe built up for a while. And when you have an upper respiratory system infection, what's going on? Your sinuses are creating mucus because they're draining. They're detoxing. The same way with your ears. If they're itchy or they're ringing and they're draining, your eyes will water. Your sinuses, you might, and unfortunately, if it gets too bad and you're not getting rid of it quick enough, because most of us are always like dehydrated and not able to get the mucus out, it will settle in the bronchial tubes and maybe even go lower into the lungs. So, Amanda's point was that seasonally we all go through these detoxes, and coincidentally, around the springtime is when the best detoxing herbs start growing, like dandelion root or dandelions, which people call weed, but we should be using that to help our body detox during this time. And something called colt's foot, I think she said. Anyway, just fascinating information. There are other alternative remedies that doctors are talking about. People with this COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, have been being placed on, as soon as they're told, the doctors, that they are having trouble breathing, these people are being put on ventilators. From what I've researched with ventilators is that that's basically a death sentence. That you don't easily come back from that. And no human being should be put on a ventilator where they got multiple tubes down into their chest breathing for them. It's fighting against everything you're trying to do, and then no way to get this fluid out, and then they're just rotated like a rotisserie. They're rotated to their stomach and then back onto their back, and then afterwards they're expected to be able to take all these tubes out and that they're going to be able to breathe on their own again. How many of us could lay in bed for 10 days and then hop up and walk? You wouldn't be able to, because you lose all that like muscle memory and all that strength, and it very easily you fall out of your muscles can fall out of that tone. Ventilators are terrible, and I feel like the more people are put on the ventilators to try to heal this, it's just killing them. Whereas there's other doctors out there, holistic doctors, who are using intravenous vitamin C. They're even saying if you can handle it in the stomach, to be taking 1,000 milligrams every hour, and that will still help. But it can be very harsh on the digestive system, large doses of vitamin C. Depends on what kind you get. I've also been studying on nebulizing hydrogen peroxide, and it's helping these people. Like some of these doctors are actually, the people aren't even coming into their clinic. They're waiting outside and they're doing these treatments in their car, so they don't have to come in and get exposed or expose someone else. And these people, they said within hours, their fevers are breaking and they're able to breathe. So why aren't we using these treatments? I mean, I read an article the other day, or maybe it was yesterday, that the feds are breaking into these hospitals that are using alternative remedies like the vitamin C used intravenously. Why? Why don't you break into the hospitals where people are dying left and right because they're venting them? This world has gone mad. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that there are alternative methods. I've heard some people talk about using quinine. Now, I didn't do a whole lot of research on that. But using quinine to help with healing. And simply just getting out in the sun. Like the sun, it kills the virus. It makes sense to me. So everything they're telling us to do is the exact opposite of what we should be doing. They're telling us to stifle our breathing, stay away from each other, stay indoors. But in actuality, we should be outdoors. We should be around each other, because the more you're around each other, the more your immune system is going to build up. If you shelter yourself and you don't allow your body to get around these things and fight them off, then what? And they're telling us to wash our hands and use hand sanitizer and use all these chemicals. Same at my work. Use Lysol, use bleach water, use Clorox. All that shit, excuse my language, is horrible for you. It's like peeling my skin off my hands. And I've stopped using it. The hand sanitizer is like making my fingers crack. It's terrible. It is a hormone disruptor. Everybody's going to have hormone issues in 6 months from this. We got to stop it. Exact opposite of what we should be doing is what they're telling us to do. What's everyone going to do in the winter, in the beginning of next spring, when COVID-19 mutates into COVID-20? We're allowed them to do this again? I'm running out of time this time. I'm sure I will share my thoughts again. I think this is probably a good start. But, you know, I think we need to open back up. I'm in Pennsylvania. We need to open PA back up. We need to give people their freedoms back. People need to stand up and share with their friends and family and their neighbors and try to educate them so that they're not living in so much fear. I never, ever in my wildest dreams thought that like something like this would be more polarizing than being a flat earther and talking to people about that, feeling like so alone. Now, like, I honestly feel like people have been made, we have been made into each other's enemies. That's another point I wanted to cover was, you know, it's like us against them. It's like the people that think this has been blown way out of proportion, like myself, and then there's people that just have taken it hook, line, and sinker and look at people like me as the enemy, like I'm a risk, like I'm a loose thread, and that they need to narc on me because I'm hurting the population because, you know, I want to go outside without a mask on. It's insane. Oh, I just got home, sorry. Just pulling into the driveway. So, I mean, those are some of my thoughts. I hate that it is making us enemies of each other. Like, oh, my puppy's out here waiting. Come here, buddy. Come here. Ha, ha, ha. There he is. Ha, ha. Hi, bud. Mommy's out. Interruption. Come here. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. I hope everybody loved that. All right, just a minute, buddy. Just a minute. Whew. Anyway, it hurts me so much psychologically knowing that this is allowing people to feel like each other are the enemy. Like, is this going to cause some kind of civil war? Or are we going to do like a revolutionary war and fight back against, you know, the government and get our freedoms back? Or is it always going to be that they're going to hang these fears over our heads, these make-believe boogeyman again? Okay, so the make-believe boogeyman used to be, you know, Osama bin Laden and Muslims with box cutters, and now it's some kind of virus that we don't even know about. That's not real. And it's turning each other against each other. It saddens me because I have friends that, you know, I'm pretty sure thinking I'm a pretty terrible person because of some of the things that I'm saying, because I want our freedoms back, and they think it's selfish because they see people, you know, dying in the hospital, and it's very unfortunate. And a lot of these people are elderly people that already have pre-existing severe medical issues. You know, they already have COPD, they already have congestive heart failure, they're morbidly obese, they, you know, unfortunately, you know, if they were to have gotten even just the regular flu, which who knows that this isn't the regular flu, that they were already at risk for suffering if it was going to hit them in the upper respiratory system. But it's like, it's my fault if those people get sick and die because I want my freedoms back. I mean, it's just insane what we're going through for a flu. This is not a real pandemic. A lot of the numbers are false. You can research that too. So many people have died, and they did not die from COVID-19. They were not tested, but they're being claimed on their death certificate that that's what they died from. That's horrendous. There are people, and this is, I know someone personally, her sister got it, was tested, took them weeks and weeks to finally say she tested positive, and then would not test the rest of the family, but put the rest of the family down as being positive. So the numbers are super inflated. And so many people probably would survive this if they would start trying some more gentler, natural remedies. Alternative remedies like the ones I mentioned earlier, or research some other ways to do it. I've had really, really bad detox sessions where I had some really bad congestion in my chest, and I struggled for weeks to get rid of it, but I did everything naturally. I don't go to the doctor. And I'm talking like I pumped probiotics, I pumped vitamin C, and on top of that, I ate a lot of vitamin C fruits. I love lemons. When I'm sick, I'll eat a lemon or a half a lemon every night. I love oranges, the grapefruits. And then I'll take the rinds and put them in water and boil it. Whenever I have any congestion in my sinuses or in my chest or bronchial tubes or even just in your throat, I do a lot of inhalation of steam. Like, showers always feel good, but I will do I'll take a pot of water and boil it, and sometimes I'll put like a little bit of cinnamon in there, or some kind of oil like eucalyptus oil, orange oil, peppermint oil, not too much so that it burns you, and then, or like the orange rinds or something like that, and I'll take a towel over my head and I'll just slowly breathe that in. You slowly breathe in the steam to where it's comfortable. If it starts to get too hot in your nostrils, then you back up a little bit. Don't be silly about it, be smart about it. But I will do that, and it moisturizes all those mucous membranes, and it helps clear out that stuff, and it helps also soothe the throat, so you're not just coughing just because the throat is hurting. And I have done, you can do like liquid silver, oregano oil. I will do oregano oil under the tongue, food grade. What else? But the facial sauna thing, like I said, with the pot of water, it really, really seems to help sinuses and any kind of upper respiratory congestion. And they're saying, what's funny is they came out saying, oh, the virus dies if you warm it up and if you just breathe in hot air or hot steam. I'm like, huh. Like, I've done that a lot in a lot of times when I'm sick. And I don't know that it's really killing off viruses per se, but I think it might just be helping your body to detox that stuff that's coming out. But anyway, I think my point is with that is I think that there are way better, gentler ways of healing the body instead of venting it when you're like, they shouldn't even be allowing people to get to that point. Like, how are you allowing people to get to that point where their lungs are completely filled with fluid and you're not trying alternative methods? And then the worst possible thing, like if you're filling up with fluid and congestion, you don't want to be sedentary. You need to be able to cough that out. You need to be able to move around and get it out. This world is mad. I say that all the time. # mad world. So those are some of my thoughts for now. I'll probably hit stop and then I'll remember 1,001 things I wanted to say. But for now, this is around half an hour. And I'm going to try to upload this, and then maybe I'll do another one tomorrow or soon. I miss all you guys. I hope you guys, understand where I'm coming from. It helps some of you, especially those who are working and have to struggle with that kind of scenario. I hope everyone out there is staying sane, and don't give up. I get feeling like I'm hopeless sometimes, and like, is it ever going to change or get better? But then I keep telling myself, okay, this is it. Like, it's not going to get better if we don't start doing something. So that's why I'm trying to put my voice out there. And the more I can help others to change their mind as to like alternative ways we could be dealing with this, the better I'll feel about it, and the more hope the rest of us will have. So I love you guys. This is Sunshine out.